Uh, so, Roy, tell us a little bit about, in general, Tiger Dry Lac, all that you all do for the finishing industry and all that you all offer. Tell us about that, first of all.
Sure, sure. So Tiger Coatings originated in Wels, Austria, almost 100 years ago. Started in the 30s, manufacturing liquid paints, and then powder coating. When it was invented in the 60s, they were one of the first companies to kind of jump in and start developing the RAL color swatch that we all know today, and developing powder coatings in general. And so once that started taking off, then really Tiger kind of started expanding globally. So we have facilities manufacturing powder in China, or all over Asia, really, China, Vietnam, and then as well as North America. And then, of course, our existing and largest plant in Austria.
Right. Okay. Great. Yeah. It's just powder coating? You have liquid coatings or any other type of coatings?
No liquid coatings, right? So the Tigital product, which we'll be discussing, is the only sort of subset that's more. We would refer to that as a digital coating, let's say.
Gotcha.
But powder coating is the main business today. We don't do any more liquid paints anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah. So let's talk about Tigital with a T, right? Digital T with a T.
Correct.
I saw a wonderful video with my friends from Maas Brothers Powder Coating. But tell us what Tigital Inks and that is all about.
Sure. So Tigital was developed to complement our architectural business. So globally, Tiger Coatings is pretty dominant in the architectural space, specifically to powder coating. But obviously, that's a monocolor, right? So we have customers that meet AMA classifications under our powder coating, and then in Europe, it would be under the Quali Coat specifications, which is another architectural spec. And so I would say about 13, 14 years ago, Austria had the idea of kind of offering another value add to our existing customers, right? And so the value add was to apply a decoration, or the ability of a decoration, onto a powder coated surface. And so that is what kind of prompted us to develop these specialty inks. Today, fast forward to 2025, we have a wide range of inks, right, for the graphics industry and for other industries. But really, our main target is these UV exterior inks that are designed not only to be applied on powder coating, they can be applied on any sort of substrate, woods and plastics. But powder coating was sort of the beginning and the reason that they developed it. So when we combined our powder coating system with our ink system, and that's together, we brand that as ArchiPrint. So it's the combination of two technologies sort of combined into one. But Tigital is sort of the marketing brand name of the inks division, let's say, for Tiger.
Right. Yeah. So I know that, for years, sublimation, I know it's a difficult process that some powder coaters have tried to use. And this sort of is something that's going to be a lot more, I don't want to say easier, but a lot more efficient for them to use, possibly, correct?
Yeah, I would say streamlined is probably the best word, right? Sublimation has been around for decades. It's still the dominant, let's say, application to decorate wood. It has a lot of it has a lot of shortcomings today when we look at the economic part of it, when we look at the ecological part of it, right? So a lot of energy, a lot of, today it's not just the U.S., but, really globally, a lot of folks are having a hard time hiring employees. With sublimation, you really can't just get somebody off the street, and pay them $25 an hour or $20 an hour. It's really a skilled labor set that needs to be doing it the right way, at least, right? And so it's very expensive, very time consuming, very labor intensive, very energy so consumption of energy. And so, with Tigital, we are essentially, if we're talking about the powder coating or the ArchiPrint portion of it, we are imaging directly onto the powder with our UV chemistry, and then it's curing. So with UV inks, just like with UV coatings, it's curing instantly. And so as that's applied, it cures instantly. And if you're kind of building the full ArchiPrint solution on there, basically when it's done and it's cured, it's ready for packaging. And this is also a non-contact application. So whereas sublimation needs to physically make contact with the powder, this technology is sort of, let's say, gliding over the part at about a 2 millimeter distance and literally firing incredibly small droplets of ink onto the part of the decoration and then instantly curing with UV light.
Gotcha. How long has this been around? Is it fairly new?
So great question. So UV inks, let's say, or the concept of UV printing has probably been around, I would say sometime maybe the mid 90s is really when it started kind of getting developed, so what was it, 30 years right now. It was originally designed for the graphics industry. And so that industry uses it today. You could go to just about any kind of decent sized sign shop. Any printing company today would have some sort of UV print bed, roll to roll or flatbed printing on signage. Very common, very mature technology. The chemistry has really graduated today for the sign industry. The head technology has graduated. But really what started happening in Europe was they looked at that inkjet technology in Europe and started using it for the ceramic industry with a different kind of ink. And so, that was kind of late 90s, early 2000s, started in Europe. And then other companies in Europe started picking up on that and testing it and utilizing it for interior applications where they were taking MDF, let's say, type of materials or boards or plastics, printing them with the wood decoration, what we would know in North America maybe as paneling, things of that nature, but beautiful high-end stuff, right? And printing that and kind of using it for more of an industrial application. Industrial printing is kind of one of those terms that's very wide. It doesn't really have a specific market. When I'm talking about industrial printing, I'm talking about really kind of printing for us, that's us providing that solution for exterior, obviously for interior as well. But really the key component that we've developed, the sort of the secret sauce, is that exterior application. Because just like the sign industry, that signage cannot stay outside for more than a couple of years till it has some significant fade. And so what we've done is we've developed not only the technology to drastically reduce that fade by using the specific pigments and things of that nature, but on top of that have also, let's say, developed a full solution for that powder coating world to complement or to replace the sublimation technology that's today.
Right, yeah. And so walk me through how a powder coater would utilize this. Like I said, there's a great video on your website with the Maas Brothers, who I've written about before. Great guys, and they've put this in their system and they're using it. So tell me how they're using it first of all.
Sure. So Maas Brothers is a company that's been around since the late 90s. Prior to that, they were also into powder coating as well. So they've got 30, 40 years in the powder coating business, and so they were also looking at sublimation to kind of provide another value add, just like anybody else would look. And the cost is quite high. If you really start digging into it, you kind of find the limitations and the shortcomings and things of that nature. And so they reached out to us and said, "Hey, tell us more about this technology." And so we did. The customers that Tiger has globally, with the exception of Maas Brothers, are all OEMs. So they are end customers that are manufacturing, building their own product, decorating their own product, and then selling their own product. With Maas is really a custom coater, right? Which, as your viewers know, there's thousands of them across, the North America, right? Thousands and thousands of them. So, both very, very large, like Maas Brothers, and then very small. And so, the technology kind of adds another value for Maas Brothers to give those customers. Now, the kind of things that they're doing with Maas Brothers, because they're a custom coater, they're doing all kinds of things. It's not just architectural, although they are obviously doing that kind of stuff. But it's even it's even let's say more simpler interior products that just need to be powder coated and then just have that extra decoration, right? It's when I'm talking about decoration, 99% of the time it's wood grain or stone, simulation, right, on a product. But with Maas Brothers, it can be that, or it can be all kinds of other, decoration technologies, right?
Right. Yeah, I was going to say it is something like you mentioned before. Powder coating is kind of a mono finish, and I guess it gives shops the ability to kind of say to their customers, let's take a look at this, right? Here's an idea that
Right,
you might want to look at, right? And
right,
which is what a lot of shops are looking for. How can they differentiate themselves from maybe
correct.
somebody across town, right? And I think this probably gives them that ability to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, great.
And they're also open to doing work for other powder coaters, right? Because they know that a smaller powder coater shop can't necessarily afford a piece of equipment, right? And so they're willing to kind of bring that work in and do it for them.
Right. Yeah. What type of footprint does this take into a shop? But it looks like it's the video I saw and such. I mean, it's basically a large printer area, right? I mean, it's not taking up
Correct,
huge
correct.
amounts of area, is it?
Yeah, so that really depends on the application of the OEM, because like I said, all the customers, with the exception of Maas, have OEM products. So that footprint for his machine, all in is probably somewhere around 14 by 7 feet, because it's a general flatbed. But we have customers with single pass print lines that are 75 to 100 feet long, because they have long linear parts, right? And those parts are 8 to 10 feet long, and so they kind of travel very fast and through a continuous sort of tunnel, if you would, to make it simple. That applies the ink, cures the ink, and then depending on the post process, that process could be another 75 feet. So.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Like I said, something that really could go into a lot of shops if they, they have the space for that. It sounds like, it's not going to take up a huge amount, but like I said, gives them the differentiation then that they're probably looking for, that they all seem to be of, why they can do more for their customers with that. And
Correct.
yeah.
And a lot of shops today also, a lot of shops, from what I understood, especially over COVID, a lot of the shops today either offer some kind of screen printing, pad printing, whether they do it in-house or whether they do it from a local source. Some of them are already offering, let's say, decoration. The decoration can be, verbiage on a panel, right, that they need to screen print, a panel that's been powder coated, or it's some sort of logo or something. But no one, with screen printing and all that, no one is doing any kind of, let's say, let's call it like wood decoration, right? Because you really can't do that in the same high fidelity with screen printing or pad printing.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, this is a great technology, and I know that you guys have kind of led the forefront of the technology. Like I said, you mentioned a lot of this began in Europe, which I find a lot of the finishing and coating technology starts there almost, right? It starts there,
It does.
it really gets that. And like I said, you all have been, kind of very much associated with the quality components with Alma and a lot of the other ones. Uh,
Right.
so it seems like you guys are constantly looking for ways to kind of help these customers get a little bit more,
Correct.
add a little bit more, whatever margins they can add with that. Is there anything else that you guys are working on? Uh, uh,
So we do have some interesting things in the works. I would say without divulging too much just yet. When the time is ready, I think what we have that we're developing right now is going to be incredibly unique, but we're not quite ready yet to release that. But yeah, that's the interesting thing is, I've been in the printing industry for over 35 years, but I've been with Tiger for just under 6 years. And in that 6 years, I've already seen the constant redevelopment of something that they already came out with, which is dominant. But based on different industries, the industries are coming to us and saying, okay, this is great, but what we also need is this. And so, and if we, in terms of coatings, let's say, right, digital coatings, right, I'll call it digital coatings. And so since we don't make liquid coatings, we're sort of developing these more advanced digital coatings is kind of the teaser that I would give, right? And so those digital coatings typically today, or those coatings, I should say today, would typically be applied post in a liquid form. Liquid solvent, liquid UV, liquid, water-based or UV water-based. And so while those technologies are great, the footprint is enormous. The environmental impact is quite negative. It requires, again, more employees, more space, more everything. So what we're developing is, kind of a way to really simplify it into sort of one package. And, while we do have technologies that already kind of offer that, again, because we're going after all these architectural type of industries or building product, let's say industries, everyone has their own standard. It's not just the AMA or quality coat anymore. It's, hey, I'm in X industry, and for us, our standard is this. And so we go, well, we meet all of those qualifications, but not these three.
Right.
Okay, well, if you want to do a business with us, then, we need to hit those qualifications. And so we've been going back to the drawing board and going, okay, is it possible to develop it? It's possible to develop the chemistries. That's, let's say, the easy part. I'm not a chemist, but fairly, that's the easy part. But jetting them out of a printhead, that's the challenge. Right. So printhead technology is just as important as the chemistry technology, to sort of marry them together.
Gotcha. That's great. I appreciate you taking time out. Hopefully we can talk soon as you find out what powder coaters are using this more and more for. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about that in the future. But I appreciate you taking time out and really explaining this technology with it. And thanks for
the opportunity, Tim.
Up with it. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah.